was gonna ask earlier how you felt about a sentinel being in an immediate following patch. As in to Paul or them being involved in the story? Both? In terms of story, I don't care. Yeah, Jinxie was in 1.1. Okay, here's the thing. Jinxie was in 1.1, but 1.0 was quite long. But I think the second act of 3.0 will bring this total to around maybe like 6 hours. And don't forget, with Ridicita, we had 2.0, which was like 6 hours altogether, right? Then 2.1, which was a filler patch, technically. We had Peep stuff. That was all Peep stuff in 2.1. But it was filler. And then 2.2 was Cartothea, totally. So actually, like, it's basically the same without the filler. So what you're saying is like, we're missing a filler patch. But I think Kuro is like doing a thing now. Ever since the anniversary, they don't really want like true filler anymore. There's been no filler patch since the anniversary. Like technically. And I think that's why they're splitting the stuff up and stories up like they are, because they want an MSQ every single patch now. Rather than having a filler one. They're going for like, they want to constantly be in your face with something worth pulling. We had main story, but content-wise it was filler. But here's the thing. A main story patch means it's not filler. If the patch has main story content in it, it can't be filler. Because guess why? The main story is going to be the thing that most users will come back to do. An event is not going to be the reason more people come back to the story. Right? The MSQ is the thing that will always drive the most people to come back to your game. So as long as you have an MSQ, it can't be considered a filler patch. Because don't forget, they make most of their money the day the character comes out. So the character comes out, you do story, you kind of like, that's it, you're done, right? That you make the money. If there's no main story, and it's event filler, you've got less people logging in day one to pull, less money overall is the thinking, right? Same thing with like a rerun character or whatever the fuck. But that's why I think that's why they're doing this. Like if I had to hazard a guess, like that's their strategy with this. There's always going to be a main story quest with every single new banner character. It gives more incentive for people to play because everyone that plays WoW wants to really do the main story. Well, that's where most people are going to play. Most people will play because of an MSQ. 2.1, which is a character story with people and Zanny. Exactly. Right? So like in terms of story, I don't mind at all. I don't think that's a problem. In terms of like pulling, it's rough. It's definitely rough for free to play. But like every character that's coming out so far seems quite important meta-wise. Linnae, pretty important. Seemingly. Monnier, pretty good for like being a wheelchair for other characters. Aemeath, whatever you want to call her, Amy, you know, probably gonna be needing some other current characters. Like it's a lot, right? I don't question that it's rough for free to play, but I think that's the model Kuro are going for, because you know what? I think it's going to work. I do. I think it's gonna work. I think they're gonna be like taking a ton of money from this. Because you know why? You have no time to save. I feel that there's a lot more pressure to pull for characters because of how they're releasing them. So more opportunity for people to actually like pay and be like, well shit, now I gotta spend. I've run out of fucking asteroids, now I gotta spend. You think they rushed Aemeath for the Cyberpunk collab? No, actually. Because I think the Cyberpunk collab is gonna come for the anniversary. Cyberpunk is gonna land where 2.3 did, or maybe 2.4, right? That's my feeling, is gonna be the anniversary. I don't think it's rushed. I think they genuinely wanted to change their content strategy. Every single patch, there is gonna be a main story quest for every new character. That's why they removed companion quests, right? They removed the companion quests to tie them into the main story, so every time there's a new character on banner, you're gonna get a new main quest. You know, they're getting more people to pull every patch. One of the units during the Cyberpunk collab needs to be free. I don't think it needs to be. I don't think it needs to be, but if they did, that would be really cool. If they don't, it will get compared to Honkai Star Rail. Like, it will. It will get compared to Honkai Star Rail, like, a lot, but yeah. PGR did it with Virgil? Yeah. If they follow the PGR route, then they will give one free character. One of the two will be free. And it tends to happen with most collabs anyway. Yeah. Banner things like PGR. I think we all have to realize that, like, Vinicita isn't that different apart from the fact they had the big filler patch. And so I feel like the question is, do you guys want filler patches? Do you guys want filler patches, or do you prefer there's always going to be guaranteed main story content update every single banner, but just not as long? Like, what do you guys actually like prefer? Like, do you like the filler, or do you like the fact that every update there is now a main story for you to do? As a free-to-play, yes. So is this really more of like a free-to-play problem then? I don't mind filler patches if they're engaging and still fun. It's fine. I want a full-on game the way the devs want. I want filler patches so I can catch up on all content and save primo gems. That's the Genshin excuse, right? That's the Genshin excuse of like, oh, I want fillers are fine because I can save. Because personally, I do like the idea of like every banner, every reset, there's a new MSQ. Like splitting up the story, I don't really mind, but the story just has to be good. That's my only thing. Like, I don't mind as long as the story is good. And like with Cardathea, she was featured in like the end of like 2.0, sorry. She was spoken about a lot, but the thing is, like, Cardathea was like spoken about a lot throughout 2.0. And then in 2.2, obviously the whole patch was kind of centered around her, right? So I don't think it's like really quick that we're meeting Aemeath like too quickly. I think it's like fine. I think it's totally fine. They just need to just write it good. That's it. Just write it good. Here's the thing, right? Google says Aemeath? Aemeath? I guess we'll find out, right? Pink Nanami. We'll call her Pink Nanami. Here's the thing. It's like, how do I want to phrase this? Yeah, I just want a good written story. The problem that we're in right now is that we desperately need more exposition in the main story about the Exostrider, about synchronists and stuff like that, and I hope we get that in the upcoming patches and stuff like that. Like, I want them to start, I hope that means they get to start fleshing out like the Exostrider lore. Here's the thing, you can get a lot of lore right now by listening to a lot of like NPC dialogues. Like, a lot of NPC dialogues actually like have that, and you can go around and you can learn a lot about Aemeath. You can learn about the Exostrider, how basically the Exostrider is essentially the Sentinel, right? We know that now. The Exostrider is basically the Sentinel. It was Sol, it was Balder, used to stop the Threnodian threat, Aemeath, in the fucking region, right? Like, we know that to be the case from the dialogue, but the main story doesn't like show that yet, and I hope that it does, and I hope it gets explained, because again, the main story quest is the only way most people that play the game are going to consume the story. So I hope they kind of like put that in there, because it's really interesting. What is the Exostrider? I still haven't found out. See, this is the point, right? You're proving the point that I'm kind of trying to be saying, is that like most people only do the main story. They don't read the other outside lore. And the Exostrider is a really interesting concept. So the Exostrider is essentially like what protects the area basically in the Royal like Frostlands. It's the Exostrator is the Sentinel, right? At this point, we kind of know the Exostrator is essentially the Sentinel, and you can control it by synchronizing with it, right? That's what like Aemeath is supposed to be. She's a synchronist for like the Exostrator, because you see the NPC dialogues that, oh, she's someone who was a she had high compatibility, she had insane like compatibility and synchronization like tests, she's extreme high performer, people already know about her, and then like she kind of disappeared, and that's why we have the story we have now. We're probably gonna find out more about that, but you wouldn't know that if you played the main story quest, right? You wouldn't know any of that if you didn't play the main quest. So like, I mean, you wouldn't know that if you played the main quest. So like, I really hope the main story like interweaves like more of the inner details, because it's like, it's so interesting. Like this whole concept is so interesting. So I'm waiting for it. We just enrolled to the academy. I think it's fine. Not even over the first pop-up. Oh no, I'm okay with that, right? I'm just saying, I hope in the next patches it's there. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't need it all right now. I just hope that we do get it to like a degree that's like really cool.
Twitch.tv/Captain Cabinetz, Captain Cabinetz.